In today's nail-biting episode of True 911 Calls, a woman mysteriously dies in a historic mansion. On July 13, 2011, Rebecca Zahau's life came to a sudden and tragic end. The 32-year-old's body was found hanging on a balcony with her hands and wrists bound and a rope around her neck. The gruesome discovery was made on the grounds of a historical California mansion where she lived with her millionaire boyfriend, Jonah Shacknai. Her death came merely a few days after her boyfriend's son, Max, got into a fatal accident while under her care.
Emergency, what are you reporting?
Yeah, I got a girl hung herself in the guest house of, it's on Ocean Boulevard across from the hotel, same place that you came and got the kid yesterday.
Okay, sir, what is the address?
I'm not sure. 19, the back house is 1928 something. I'm not sure. Let me call you back.
Okay, sir. Is she still alive?
I don't know.
Okay. Sir, are you there?
You alive? No. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Did you get the address?
No, sir. I need the address.
Right now. You came here yesterday to pick up a little boy.
Okay, sir. I wasn't working yesterday. I don't know what you're talking
Check
about.
your records.
Sir, I checked all of the records yesterday. I can't find anything on Ocean Boulevard. Can you tell me what the address is?
I'm looking. Just start sending them towards the hotel.
Okay, I understand that. I just need the exact address. I can't help you until I have the address.
1043 Ocean Boulevard.
1043 Ocean? Okay,
Yeah.
Is she still alive?
I don't think so.
Okay, let me get the fire department. Sir, hang on. Let me get the fire department on the phone to help you, okay? Hang on just a minute.
Fuck. Come on.
Fire medical emergency? Coronado with a transfer. Go ahead, sir.
That lady is hung herself.
What's the address?
1043 Ocean Boulevard.
1043 Ocean Boulevard?
Yeah.
Okay, what's wrong?
She hung herself, man. I just woke up.
Okay, is it the house?
It's a house. Yeah.
Okay, how old is she?
I'd say about 30.
30? Okay. When was the last time you saw her?
Last night.
Okay, is she beyond help?
Well, give me some. I'm compressing her chest right now.
Okay, hold on. What's your name?
I'm Shacknai.
Okay, I have help on the way. What's your cell phone number? Is it 901-485?
901-485.
Okay, listen to me. Help is coming right now, okay? And Petey, you're on the way? Yes, we are. Okay, and you're right there with her. Did you cut her down?
Yes, I did.
Okay, just stay with me.
Zahau was a Burmese immigrant and one of 6 children. She was born in Phalam, a small town in the Chin Hills of Myanmar, formerly known as Burma. She spoke multiple languages: English, Nepali, and Hindi, having lived in multiple countries, including Germany and Nepal. She moved to the US about 10 years before her death. Zahau worked as an ophthalmic technician. Zahau first met Shacknai, the founder of Medix Pharmaceutical Corporation, at her job.
Rebecca was completely full of life. She was a very enthusiastic person.
In 2008, the pair began dating, 2 years before her death. Zahau was reportedly still legally married to her ex-husband, Neil Nalepa, when her relationship with Shacknai blossomed.
Well, we both love to be outdoors. We're both workout enthusiasts. We both like clean living, clean food that just made it very compatible on a daily basis.
The more time they spent together, the more Shacknai fell for her and wanted a stable life with Zahau.
I just had enormous admiration for her just because they were running and trying to find a place to have a stable life.
He had 3 kids from his previous marriages, 2 teenagers from his first marriage, and from his second marriage, 1 young son, 6-year-old Max. According to Shacknai, Zahau and Max bonded really well.
Max loved Rebecca. She was extremely attentive and warm, and she had no children of her own, and I think she was a great influence on Max. They had their own love story.
Although the relationship between Zahau and Max was good, the same could not be said about her relationship with Max's mother, Dina Shacknai.
When you have blended families, you want, I mean, no mom is jumping for joy saying, oh, somebody else is going to be,
around your child.
I thought we had a good working relationship together.
According to Zahau's older sister, Dina and Rebecca did not have a friendly relationship.
What was Dina's relationship like with Rebecca?
It was not a friendly relationship. It was not friendly at all.
Shacknai also confirmed their strenuous relationship. Dina reportedly made things difficult for Zahau.
They were not close. I think there were times when Dina made it a bit difficult for Rebecca.
On July 11, 2011, emergency technicians were called to the Spreckles mansion after Max was found motionless on the floor beneath a stairwell landing. According to reports, Max fell face first over a second-floor banister, suffering injuries to his spinal cord and facial bones, the former of which affected his heart rate and breathing.
Sprinted into the house and saw Max laying on the floor.
When the first responders arrived at the scene, Max was unresponsive and not breathing. The 6-year-old was taken to Rady Children's Hospital. Max was being cared for by Zahau, who was alone with him and her 13-year-old sister, Zina, in the mansion. Zahau said she was in the downstairs bathroom during the accident while her sister Zina was in another bathroom taking a shower when Zahau heard a loud noise. She thought the sound was either a crash or a dog barking. Zahau found Max lying in the foyer by the stairs on the floor, seriously injured. Nearby, there were a few scattered soccer balls and a scooter on top of his leg. She said it appeared he had fallen off the mansion's second-floor railing.
Did she ever tell you how he had the accident?
I said, what happened? And she said, I really don't know. You know, I mean, when I came out, he was there on the floor. She's like, Dina's gonna kill me. And I said, what do you mean? She's like, well, she's gonna kill me. And she kind of repeated it several times.
Rebecca's younger sister made the call to 911. Adam Shacknai, Jonah's brother, flew in to be with his nephew.
Adam came to be with us and to be of whatever support he could. Anyone that's had a child with a grave injury understands that it's the loneliest place on earth.
Shacknai worked for a tugboat company that operated on the Mississippi River in Memphis. During his visit, he stayed in a guest house at the Spreckles mansion.
I love you, Uncle Adam.
Adam...
The relationship between Jonah Shacknai and Rebecca Zahau was not the best at that point. According to Jonah, the two were cordial with each other.
They weren't that well known to one another, but they were exceedingly cordial. Both good people that I think had all eyes and prayers on Max.
At about 6:45 a.m. on July 13, 2011, Adam called 911 and reported finding Zahau hanging from a balcony with her wrists and ankles bound and her hands behind her back. Zahau was gagged with a blue long-sleeve t-shirt wrapped around her head, with the sleeves double-knotted and stuffed into her mouth. As Adam Shacknai spoke with the emergency operators, he cut her down from the balcony. Adam told officers he moved a wooden table to reach her and cut her down. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Meanwhile, Jonah received an urgent text from his brother about what had happened at the mansion.
He told me that Rebecca had taken her life. And I said, what? Can you imagine the impact of something like that when I was already facing, certainly the biggest crisis of my life? So yeah, it was surreal.
On July 16th, 5 days after Zahau's body was discovered, Max died from brain damage, a reported result of his injuries. The Coronado Police Department, which handled the investigation of Max's death, determined that it was accidental. A deputy medical examiner, Jonathan Lucas, said Max fractured several facial bones and severely injured his spinal cord. The damage to his spine then interfered with his heart rate and breathing. Suspicion by investigators immediately fell on Adam for the death of Rebecca Zahau, who then took a lie detector test to remove doubt.
Regarding the death of Rebecca, did you yourself do anything to her that resulted in her death?
He neither passed nor failed the test.
You could have done a whole lot worse on the test. Could have done a whole lot better too, but based on what I've got here, we're kind of in an inconclusive range, which really doesn't bother me that much.
On September 2nd, the San Diego County Sheriff's Department formally announced that Zahau committed suicide. However, the Zahau family was not convinced that Rebecca had taken her own life. They expressed that foul play was involved and that Adam may have killed Rebecca in a vengeance.
I think someone or several people held my sister responsible for what happened to Max. When Max got injured, there are hospital records that said that Max might have been suffocated. As a mother or somebody related to Max, you can assume, okay, Rebecca was the caregiver. But the sad part is nobody really investigated what really happened. Nobody knows who was in that house.
Zahau's family filed a $10 million civil suit for wrongful death against Adam Shacknai. The family claimed all evidence in the case points to homicide. Adam defended the claims that he killed her.
The other thing is, I have never, not only have I never struck a woman or come up from behind her, I've never got in a woman's way, I've never blocked a doorway, I've never slammed a door, a car door, interior door, exterior door, and probably the only time I've raised my voice to a woman in the last 10 years was probably in a room full of mixed company that included some attorneys, not long ago.
Did you kill Rebecca
and I've been touched. Hell fucking no. I wouldn't fucking waste my time killing Rebecca Zahau. I never touched her. And I was in that guest house, and that's all I can tell you. It's ridiculous it's just so insulting that somebody would waste their time killing Rebecca Zahau. That's my feeling of her now. While she was alive, she was okay with me. I was probably the only person that thought she was okay, by the way.
Keith Greer, an attorney representing the Zahau family, stated that other inaccuracies were found with the Sheriff's Department investigation, including evidence that indicated that Zahau was sexually assaulted before her death. Famed pathologist Cyril Wecht also questioned the cause of her death after conducting a second autopsy on Zahau's body. At the request of the family, he led an autopsy on Rebecca. Wecht testified that he believed that the 32-year-old did not commit suicide. He asserted that there were fractures in Zahau's throat were caused by manual strangulation, not suicidal hanging. He further stated that he thought Zahau's death was a homicide.
I have a very serious question when I think about the 3,000, 3,500 suicides that I have done or examined in the 17,000 autopsies I've performed and the 37,000 other autopsies I have reviewed or supervised. How does somebody go about binding the hands in a slipknot arrangement, binding their calves, putting a rope around their neck, then the shirt over the rope 3 times and stuffing it in their mouth? Now the idea that, well, somebody could do this, yes, I know Harry Houdini did slip knots and things of that nature 70 years ago. But to say that Ms. Zahau was able to do it. I've yet to hear from the law enforcement people, where did she acquire this skill?
However, the San Diego County Medical Examiner, Jonathan Lucas, stood behind the initial findings in the case and believed Zahau died from hanging herself. Greer contended that Zahau had suffered 4 blows to the head, leaving her partially or entirely unconscious during the alleged attack. Wecht said, even if her scalp hit bushes, that kind of impact would not produce subgaleal hemorrhage. We're talking about contusions on the top of the head. So, even as the body is falling down, let's say there are branches. How do you get bruises on the top of the head as the body is falling vertically downward? Another disturbing clue found at the scene was a knife covered in Zahau's menstrual blood. Greer said that the blood was found on all 4 sides of the knife handle, suggesting the handle had been used in some type of sexual assault. According to the San Diego Sheriff's Department, no fingerprints were found on the knife. A second, larger knife was also found in the bedroom. Zahau's fingerprints were found on the blade of the knife, and crime scene analysts found a mixture of DNA from at least 2 people on that knife. Lieutenant Williams said that the sample provided insufficient information for conclusions or comparisons. An eerie message had been painted on the room's door leading to the balcony below where police found Zahau's body. Officials initially declined to confirm this. The statement, written in black paint, read, "She saved him. Can you save her?" The exact meaning of the message is unclear. Greer theorized that it could have been referring to Zahau's efforts several days earlier to save Jonah Shacknai's son, Max. According to the San Diego Sheriff's Department, Zahau's thumbprint was found on a black paint tube cap. The paint was also found on her right hand, left breast, right nipple, right upper chest, right upper index finger, and neck. Greer argued that Adam Shacknai painted the message, then applied the paint to Zahau. He said, "It's like somebody pinched her nipples. She has black paint there." He added that paint was also found on the rope but not on the gag, suggesting the gag may have already been in place. Sheriff Gore stated that it was not a clear suicide note. However, investigators took it as further evidence of suicide. According to her family member, Zahau liked to paint as a hobby and signed her paintings in the past. However, they contended that the message did not match her handwriting. Rebecca's ex-husband, Nalap, also stated the note did not appear to be something Zahau would have written. Adam Shacknai's attorney, David Ellsberg, maintained it was a suicide message painted by Zahau. Greer claimed that surfaces had been wiped to eliminate possible DNA remnants. He said, in this case, it's what the killer didn't leave behind, which was a huge piece of evidence. There was no DNA and no fingerprints on just about everything associated with the crime.
And there's something else he found just as compelling.
One of the unusual things about this case is there's really a lack of DNA.
What do you attribute that to?
I think somebody cleaned everything up.
Greer argued to the complex knots used to bind her hands behind her back as evidence that someone else, possibly someone with nautical experience, had tied those knots. He pointed to Adam Shacknai's job as a tugboat captain to suggest he had experience tying similar knots. The Sheriff's Department investigators contend that Zahau bound herself before hurling herself off the balcony. Investigators filmed a demonstration video of how it could have been done with an officer similar in size to Zahau as part of their investigation. Shacknai took the stand to testify. He said he cut Zahau's body down immediately after calling 911. A recording of the emergency call was played in court.
Cut her down, I had her in one arm and cut with the other.
He accounted for his grunting as he was on a call with the emergency operator.
Okay, so what are you doing now?
If I had to speculate, I'd say it's probably the sound of me cutting her down and at some point jumping off the table with her.
Adam's brother, Jonah, also took the stand to testify on behalf of his brother.
I couldn't believe it. My son was fighting for his life in a hospital. And the idea that Rebecca was now gone, it was unfathomable.
Shacknai's attorney said in his closing arguments that his client was stable, well-adjusted, with no history of violence. He said, "My client is charged with the most serious, despicable acts you can think of." In his closing arguments, Greer told jurors that Shacknai's 911 call was part of his script he's trying to sell to this day. In April 2018, the Zahaus won a wrongful death case, a civil jury finding that Jonah's brother Adam was responsible for Rebecca's death. They were awarded $5 million.
Was Rebecca Zahau harmed before her death by Adam Zahau's conduct? The answer is yes.
The Zahau family was relieved by the jury's decision.
I want to thank the jury for spending so many weeks to get justice for Rebecca.
With the jury's outcome, her family has hopes that people will finally know that Zahau did not take her own life.
Hopefully people will know that she didn't commit suicide.
Greer said that he would petition the sheriff's department to reopen the criminal case. The sheriff's department said they are sticking to the suicide ruling but are open to considering any new evidence in response to that.
Put blinders on and look at the facts and the evidence and go where it takes us. I think we did that, and I'm confident with our conclusion.
Adam Shacknai maintained his innocence after the jury's decision.
Let me just say this about, I've been living with, horrible false accusations, and yeah, they bother me, but I'll say this, the people I come in contact with, be it friends, co-workers, acquaintances, strangers, it's very gratifying to know that I've never come across one who thought for a second that I had anything to do with it. And yeah, it bothers me, but it doesn't bother anybody else because they know me and they see me for what I am.
Do you think Rebecca took her own life? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to be informed of all my new content.